Well, hey guys, we are live. Good morning. It is Brent Abel, webtennis.com. We got Monday morning, January 25, 2021. I'm here in the California desert, Rancho Mirage, the Mission Hills Country Club. Had some rain last night. Looks like maybe a shower or two around 9 this morning. We shall see, but the grass courts definitely will be unplayable this morning. But maybe this afternoon, just might have to get out there with a bag of balls and hit a few serves, do a few sprints, do a couple of core exercises, do some stretching, all that good stuff. We shall see. Look, guys, if you are over at Facebook, would always love a like and a share on today's video. Would appreciate that. Certainly leave a comment or question if anything's on your mind. And then if you're over at YouTube, go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. There's also a notification bell that you can click and choose all so that you get notified every time we go live here or something new is uploaded. And of course, would love for a like, and I think there's a share over there, maybe not. Anyway, guys, hope you're having a great day so far. Look, today what I want to talk about is a valuable lesson I learned back in 1976. And what we're talking about today is the skies and kind of different ball speeds as a strategy, right? And I mean, this strategy could literally be up the middle, not even risking the corners, nothing more than just up the middle. Where I learned this was from the great Donna Floyd Fales, and that name, not really a household name unless you've been in the game of tennis for a long time, a lover of the game. She's a former top tenor, U.S. women's top 10 player from Florida. And at least she's living in Florida. I was working for her in Florida. 1976, she hired me sight unseen. Thankfully, I was in Memphis, Tennessee at the time. 1975, had a job there at the Stonebridge Country Club in Memphis. And then the winter hit, and it got nasty that winter. I mean, really cold and rainy. There was even, I think, a few snow flurries, but could not teach for about a month. And so I got in touch with my friend Barry McKay back in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. I said, Bear, there's a job I see posted in Key Biscayne, Florida at the Royal Biscayne Hotel. They're looking for an assistant pro. And the person doing the hiring is Donna Floyd Fales. I'm assuming you know her. He says, oh, yeah, I know Donna. And I said, well, would you mind? He said, sure, no problem. So sure enough, he calls up Donna, and whatever he mentioned, I called her up and she said, you're hired, come on down. You know, how soon can you get there or get here? And I said, well, I'll be there by Friday. So I got there, I don't know, maybe the January 1st or 2nd, 1976. And it was a great job. I was there for 2 years, loved Florida. Was unbelievable, a little rough in the summer times in terms of teaching with all that heat and humidity, but the rest of the year was gorgeous. And but anyway, so 1976, I had not gotten to Tom Stowe yet, so I was still kind of a do-it-yourselfer, even though I could teach. Right, I could teach all the standard stuff, which was fine. I mean, it was primarily hotel guests that we were teaching. It was just the standard stuff, nothing fancy. And but we would get a chance to play with Donna, who at the time she was still a top player. And I remember thinking I'd play some doubles with her and she would serve to me and I would just unload on these returns, right? I was a young buck. I mean, I was in my 20s, right? Wasn't 30 yet. So I could hit the ball pretty well. And yet what was happening is she'd serve and I just crank a return cross court and she'd ho-hum. She'd just handle the volley or the half volley right back to me. And of course, I'd take the next one and go, oh, okay, that's not enough for you then? Then here we go, boom. Of course, ball hits the back fence. But then this one day, I just said, God dang it, what's going on? I'm hitting my best returns and everything's coming back. She goes, Brent, she goes, you're so predictable. I know exactly what's coming. And if I know what's coming, it doesn't matter how big you hit the return. It doesn't matter how big you hit the serve, right? If I know where it's coming, then, it's like a baseball hitter, right? I mean, if a hitter knows what pitch is coming, The hitter's got the advantage all day long. So what I learned from that, and what she helped me with, is she said, look, you gotta have a little bit of disguise in your game. You got to show that, well, maybe you're going to bring the big thing again, right? You're going to unload on that forehand return, but why not just chip it? Just chip it down low and move in. Why not make it look like you're hitting a big forehand return and throw a lob right over my partner? And so I think for me that really started the wheels turning in terms of, well, maybe I need to change the way that I practice. And I had this one guy who was another assistant pro. He would come down. This guy, I can't remember his name, but he would come down in the wintertime from, he had a job somewhere up in the east, I think up east, somewhere in upstate New York. And he would teach the club there, seasonal job, and then he'd come down to Florida. He had in Key Biscayne, he had his boat, like a sailboat or something. He just lived on this boat in the wintertime. And this guy was pretty mellow, pretty laid back. But we would drill. And sure enough, I was, before this epiphany with Donna, I was drilling. I want to see how consistent I can get at the top of my power range. And it never really, it just never worked in terms of, well, if that's the thing that you bring to the table is power range, is consistently you're up to that level of power. If they know it's coming, if you're predictable, it's not so great. So what I would encourage you to do is, next time you go out in the court, and let's just say that part of your drilling, just some simple cross-court forehands, some simple cross-court backhands. Why not? Rather than, loading up to hit another big cross-court forehand, big being the operative word there, why not go through 5 minutes of that cross-court thing? 3 minutes, let's call it 3 minutes. And just see if you can hit some semi-toppers, loopers, not lobs, but semi-toppers, not heavy toppers, not heavy, but just semi-toppers, a much higher clearance over the top of the net, and see if you can't consistently get it to land right in the middle of that cross-court quadrant over there, and start to build in some unpredictability in your game. Right? Start to build in some disguise, right? Maybe on the backhand thing, start to hit a few more slice backhands, or start to hit a few more semi-toppers. But don't just drill. And I think I see a lot of people doing, a lot of players out there just drilling. Where's the very top of my power source, right? And can I drill this thing so that when I play singles and or doubles, I've got the top of my power source going all the time. And guess what? You're now predictable. So that's the message for today. Don't be predictable. Build in some disguise as a strategy. Again, singles and or doubles into your game. And I think what you'll find is that you unsettle your opponents a lot more because they're not sure what's coming. We go back to the baseball hitters. What's the job of a pitcher? How many pitchers in the major leagues can actually completely overpower hitters with a constant diet of, 100 plus mile per hour fastballs? I can't think of any, right? So the whole thing with a pitcher is to disrupt the timing of the hitter. And that means don't be predictable. And there you have it. So, all right, guys, listen, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed today's around 7. Here's what I want you to do. Leave me a comment or a question, whatever's going on with your game right now. I would love to know what you're working on. Is there something specific? Could be technique, could be tactic, strategy. Maybe it's mental. Maybe there's something mental. And I'll tell you this. Very few players work on the mental part of the game. Look, it's an intangible. It's an intangible. It's tough to work on the mental part of the game because unlike working on technique, at least with technique, it feels like, well, there's something specific that we can do. Well, I disagree with the mental part. I think there is some stuff specifically that you can work on. One thing that you could do, and who was I watching yesterday? God dang it! I was watching yesterday one of the pre-football game shows, and they were talking about visualization. And one thing that I love to do, especially the night before a match in a tournament, is I'm going to sleep, as I just turn off the lights and my head hits the pillow. I start to visualize myself, not necessarily the result of the point, but I do visualize that feeling of hitting a clean forehand, of hitting a good first serve. Again, without the thought of, well, this is going to, win the point, win the match. But I want to see myself playing well, and whether I visualize it as if I'm inside my body, right, and I'm looking out at the incoming tennis ball. And then other times I will also visualize I'm a spectator and I'm watching myself trying to, oh boy, that guy's smooth. Oh, nice clean hit. But I think that the mental part of the game, we do not, God, this should be another episode, shouldn't it? The mental part of the game, we don't work hard enough on. We just don't do it. And so my recommendation is maybe that's the thing that you want to start working on more, right? Or maybe it's physical, right? We've gone through technique, through tactics, through mental, physical. And that's going to be my message for my January 2021 reboot today at 7:30 in 19 minutes out here in the West Coast is we're going to work on losing weight. And look, tennis players aren't immune to carrying around too many extra pounds. So if you're that person, and if you aren't, good for you, proud of you. But if you are that person, look, this is a game of movement. Not only do you have to be quick, but you got to be able to create good, nimble spacing, that spatial distance away from the path of that incoming ball over and over and over again. And the best players can do it for 2.5 hours, 2.5 plus hours in a long match. Because if you start to gas set and a half into it, you've won the first set, and then you're up a break, you're 7-3-1 in the second, but you're carrying around an extra 12 to 15 pounds. Oh boy, here it comes. Now, all of a sudden, that guy over there is not missing. Maybe he missed a few balls to help you get up a set and a break. Now, all of a sudden, he's not missing. Maybe he's not hitting winners, but he's just jerking you around the court, and you're finding that your spacing consistency has gone away. Now you're into improv mode with stroke technique and tactics. Not great. So join me today in about 17 minutes. I'm going to talk about that, kind of get real about losing weight with my January 2021 reboot, folks. Guys, look, let me know what's going on. Just go ahead in the comments area, or if you want to get a little personal, go ahead and you can direct message me over at Facebook, or you can shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. As always, everything you say and mention, any conversation we have, is completely private, never to be made public. So just unload and let me know what's going on. Guys, with that said, it is time. Get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, I will see you again tomorrow.